In the wake of yet another school shooting, everybody is asking tonight, what can we do? What can you do? What can anybody do to keep this from happening again? And will anything actually change? You can vote, WUSA9.com/ or go to the WUSA9 app and let us know what you think. Obviously, we're going to have the results before the end of this broadcast. We went on Facebook and we're asking you, how do we stop the violence and make schools safer? And you had a lot to say. Michael said, how about we start with better security in our schools? That we have a better protection at sporting events and other public appearances to protect million-dollar athletes and celebrities. Patty says, ban assault weapons, have a buyback program. Those that choose to keep them must store them at the firing range because it is the only place they can be used safely. I like that. Shannon says, the schools need resources so they can help these kids with issues, more counselors, more school psychologists who aren't testing all the time, smaller classes so they can get to know their students and their families. I'm joined by my panelists tonight, Jennifer Blimmer. She's with the D.C. Young Democrats, and Tim Young from the Washington Examiner. Let me first ask you guys about the tip that came in that wasn't acted upon. What do you think? I mean,
I think I don't know where the lapse was for FBI field offices. I can understand if this was the FBI talking to the local law enforcement. We know that there's usually jurisdiction issues when it comes to law enforcement, but this was the national agency talking to a field office. So whether this was a human error or a tech error, it was an error overall. And I think whatever decision they decide to take to make sure this never happens again, it won't change the fact that there are 17 families right now who are missing someone at their dinner table. And so I think this is something they need to seriously overhaul. They need to look at what happened there, and they need to come up with an answer.
Tim?
Here's the problem. It doesn't matter how many policies we have or don't have in place to stop guns. It comes down to see something, say something. And that system completely failed here. Somebody at the FBI has to pay for this. Like, somebody's got to lose their job over this. And I can't believe they even admitted that they were at fault, honestly. I unfortunately think that the government hides things like this usually. So at least they did that, but this is disgusting.
Yeah, it was going to come out. Somebody was going to leak this because they're probably having their own arguments internally over this. What about the sheriff's department? You know, they've been called out to this guy's residence what is it, 39 times, I think? Mm-hmm. Nobody acted at that end. You know, I mean, again, see something, say something. We keep hearing it. We repeat it because they tell us to. Right. When people do what they're supposed to do and then nothing happens.
And then I don't know if it's because law enforcement and the law has not fully grasped how important social media is. You know, it's not just people kind of just saying things out into, you know, the atmosphere and hoping that they're just getting something off of their chest. You know, I'm still young enough but old enough to remember a time before social media and people wouldn't just kind of say things like that. And I think people aren't realizing that people are using vehicles like Twitter, like Facebook, like Instagram to say they're going to actually do something. And we need to start looking at those things more seriously, but with a balanced lens, because then of course now we don't want the government to use that as an opportunity to start surveilling people unnecessarily.
Why have a tip line if you're not going to use it and act on it?
Exactly, and honestly, to build on what she said though, you know, Facebook, Twitter, all of these organizations know exactly what you want to buy and when. They have all of that information. They should also be able to tell if somebody's going to do something violent.
Mm-hmm. Facebook and Twitter, they got their problems tonight too. We're going to get into that in a minute. Stay with us, back in a moment.